Welcome to How to Stop Shanking. This is number one, How to Stop Shanking number one. I've got 5 videos. This is the first one, and there are different ways to hit a shank, but we're going to talk about one of the most common ways to hit a shank in this How to Stop the Shank volume 1, so to speak. So again, there are other ways to do it, but I'm going to talk about one major one. I've got a couple of little props set up here. This is just a cardboard box that a set of golf clubs come in. These are just half-inch pieces of wood, and this is an impact bag. All of these can be found for under 30 bucks. This is like the most expensive, maybe 25 bucks. But you could go to a golf store and get this box for nothing. So one of the reasons people shank, and you've probably heard this if you're a shanker, is their right side gets too involved. Their right hand, their right leg, their right shoulder, their right arm, whatever it might be, it's their right side. Now, I've been working with a student now for the past maybe year and a half who has the tendency, the extreme tendency to be very right hand dominant, and he hits a lot of shanks. Sometimes his right hand gets so dominant that when he flips it this way, the club will actually hit the outside part of the ball on the back part of the hosel, and then the ball will go to the left, which is like, this guy's been playing for like 5 years. This is not a shot you'd want to have in your arsenal. So we've worked for a long time to fix some of the characteristics in his swing. And I'll talk about why he has these tendencies more than others shortly. But when we first started, we were just working with the impact bag, and I would say, okay, Larry, can you get the shaft to hit the bag before the club head? And this is usually a good way to kind of train the muscles to work so that the club head isn't being flipped into the bag. So that's kind of the first thing, and that worked a little bit, it helped a little, but he was still walking, he would still kind of walk back into his backside, and you can see I can still get the shaft to hit the bag and be on my right side. So the next thing we did is we added this platform to get his right side up a little bit higher, to get his right hip higher, to get his right foot higher, so it was almost like pressuring him to start on his left side. And then we said, okay, now, from a left foot, or a left side pivot point, we're going to just set the club, rock the shoulders. Very much like the square-to-square swing that I've got a video on. Just really preset the hands forward, square club face, turn the shoulder back, turn the shoulder through. All the time pivoting around a left foot rather than a right foot. But even then sometimes he would stay there, but his club would drag back low. And we'd see him maybe stay on his left foot, but his hands would kind of take the club back with his right hand. And then he would flip again coming through. So we added the box. So we have now 3 props, and again, I've been working with this guy for 2 years on simplifying and locking into position less hands dominant and more body dominant swing. So now we have the box, and now we have, I don't know if there's anything else I can put in there. I think this has got it. What it does is, if we set up with kind of a preset, strong, maybe firm left grip, we've kind of got the shaft locked in position. We've got our weight on our left side because we've got the platform here. We've got the bag here to give us the visual of getting the shaft to meet the bag first. And we've got the box here to get us in the position of tilting that shoulder down and having just maybe the shoulder be the motor to the swing rather than that hand taking over and dragging the club back. So, I preset, lock my hands and arms in, tilt the shoulder down. That gets the club back on this perfect plane, over the box. I keep my weight on my left side because I've got the prop here, and then I hit the bag. I strike the bag as solidly as I can, with the shaft leading, with my shoulders, or with my body moving the club into the bag, not my hands, without the flip. So if you've seen my How to Stop Flipping video, this is part of it. A lot of shanks come from a right hand flip move with the club. So this is How to Stop Flipping number 1. Now the reason I came across all these devices is because Larry has, in the past, he had an artery that was getting blocked and he lost blood flow to his left leg. So his left leg became atrophied. The muscle just kind of went away. Now he's also 70-something years old, and he's not the strongest, just athletic person in the world, but for 70-something he's in really good shape. The thing that he's losing though is his left leg. When he stands here, his brain, because it knows that the right side is so much stronger, his brain is sending the message, let's pivot on this right side. Let's use this right side to hit the ball. And that's why it's so hard for Larry. He tends to move back into his right side, where he's strong, drag the club back, and then flip the club through. And a lot of times even he'll back up this way. He'll kind of start, flip, and back his way out of the shot. So I didn't know this until I put it together yesterday with some help, but that's why. It's because his right side is so much stronger and so much more dominant that when he gets ready to do any action, any physical action, his brain is saying, let's do it from that dominant side. Let's do it from that strong side. So that might be the reason why. But the fix, and this has actually worked really well for us. In the last month, we've done so well. We had one day where we were shanking, but the rest of the month, every session, at the most, we'd have one shank. If we had a shank, we'd just fix it and go back. Now, we don't use this every day, but it's a good visual, and maybe something you could set up in your house, that you could have your right foot up, something there blocking the swing so that your club can go up, and not, I don't mean picked up with the hands, I just mean once it's locked in place, when the shoulder goes down, the club goes up. And then we just bring the shoulder back through and the club will come in. And we don't have any more of this flipping or this extending of the club. Last point on the reason that this is part of shanking, the reason that this is one of the ways to shank. If I lock this left shoulder joint to club head relationship in, so I've got my left shoulder and I've got my club head, and it's not, that relationship's not going to change. The distance from my left shoulder to the club head is going to be exactly the same. I'm not going to do this or this. I'm not going to change, I'm not going to make that distance any different. So if I lock that radius in and just move the shoulder, the club never gets any longer or shorter at the bottom of the swing. And so if you looked at it from this side, you can kind of see if my left shoulder is locked in place and the club is there, and I just turn my shoulder around a fixed point, the club's going to hit the exact same spot every single time. Versus if I'm not turning my shoulder, if I'm using my hands and my body, it's moving all over the place. And it's likely going to hit back. It's going to hit back on my back foot. So that's how to stop flipping how to stop shanking volume 1. I'm going to have 4 more of these videos. So check. If I don't have them up yet, I will shortly. But check the other videos. If this isn't your problem, then I'm sure yours is one of the other 4.